Mr. Sridhar, the Executive VC and CEO of IndoStar, is also with us, and good to have you with us, Mr. Sridhar. Lots to discuss, scrappage policy implications, financing plans, and also growth of the company. I want to start off with, how, of course, you've been very highly retail focused. CV financing has been key as well. So when it does come to the scrappage policy, what are the kind of implications? How are you analyzing the space now? What are the kind of repercussions for a company like IndoStar?
See, we are, as you rightly said, focusing on used commercial vehicles. That would form part of more than 2/3 of our assets as well as disbursements. So used commercial vehicles is where the impact on demand is going to come due to the scrappage policy. So the scrappage policy has been a long pending activity which has been pursued by manufacturers and all other stakeholders, which government has announced now. So earlier we were talking about 20 years, now commercial vehicles beyond 15 years, the government is proposing to scrap. This is a voluntary scrapping. So more than 15 years, more than 1 million vehicles are there. So these vehicles, if it has to go off the road over the next few years, that is going to trigger at least 2 to 3 times replacement demand. Because if the modernization, the replacement demand has to be successful, it has to be met with equivalent amount of financing. So the scrappage policy, when it becomes effective, is going to create a huge demand for used vehicles, and that is what is going to be very beneficial for companies like IndoStar, which is focusing on the used commercial vehicles. So we are expecting nearly 2 to 3 million vehicles of demand, and if you put an average of 4 to 5 lakhs, it would be around 1 lakh to 1.5 lakh crore of potential which is going to unfold. So we are gearing up to meet that kind of a demand which is coming in. So I think the scrappage policy is good for all the stakeholders, particularly for second-hand commercial vehicle finance companies like IndoStar.
Okay, great. So lots of benefits there, as you're suggesting as well. Now you're planning on exiting the corporate lending business. That's by next year. Continuing to focus on retail. Clearly, that's where you see opportunity. Are there any other strategic reasons, or how much of an opportunity or focus do you want to apply to the retail segment? That's led you to make this decision.
This corporate lending business has been the breadwinner for IndoStar. We started in 2011 with corporate lending, and for the next 7 years till 2018, this has been making a 450 to 500 crore of profit before tax. And what is heartening is there was not even a single rupee credit loss. So the management team had done a fantastic job, but unfortunately, post the IL&FS and the economic downturn, some companies default in the corporate forced us to take a bold decision of winding down this business. So we have decided to slowly exit this business and grow the retail business. So from 80% of corporate and 20% of retail about 3 years back, we have now brought it down to 25% corporate and 75% retail. So by March 31st, I think we should be below 10% corporate lending. So that is what we are planning to achieve. And since our repayments are linked to sales of real estate assets, in spite of moratorium, in spite of restructuring, rescheduling, our repayments will come as per the sale of units, and that is why we feel that it will come below 1,000 crores, and the retail to corporate will become less than 10%. So that is what we are planning.
Sure. Mr. Sridhar, how is it that you are analyzing the current environment with the uncertainty now reaching its peak with this fresh spike in the virus? And what then is the outlook on the asset quality front?
See, asset quality, unfortunately, due to various headwinds and challenges, starting from liquidity crunch, GDP sluggish growth, commercial vehicle downside, and on top of it, pandemic. So last 2 years have been quite challenging, but there is a definite resilience because disbursements have been stopped. We are focused on that. So till October last year, we have achieved 100% collections from March when the moratorium started. After that, we started the disbursements. We have now reached the disbursements of pre-COVID levels. Everything has been going on very well. But unfortunately, now there is a surge in the COVID, and everybody hopes that this would be a short-term. Vaccination is going on. So, as of now, things are looking good in terms of asset quality. We have been able to do fantastic collection performance, more than 100% in March. And we will have to see next couple of months. But fortunately, in spite of the COVID, there is no restriction on the movement of commercial vehicles. So some segments in the commercial vehicle like buses and some passenger commercial vehicles, heavy commercial vehicles have been feeling the heat. But some segments are really doing well, like small commercial vehicle, light commercial vehicles. And now because of infrastructure trust which the government has given, even tipper segment is doing well. So we are hopeful. We are engaging continuously with our customers, and we are increasing our effort on collection. So as of now, it's looking good, and we hope that even during the challenging period of last year, we have been able to collect. So I don't think that much of challenge is there, and I do hope that the pandemic impact is going to be for a couple of months, and then things will normalize.
Okay. Help me understand how are the collections as well as the recoveries, and if you could break it up between the urban as well as the rural segments, because start of the pandemic what we saw was that rural is what was aiding the recovery. Is that pretty much the trend even now?
Of course, but the economics of commercial vehicles is same throughout the country. The freight rates and all that, it doesn't change from one place to another. So our understanding is the collection effort depends on our own people, their follow-up and collecting money from the customers. As far as commercial vehicle is concerned, whether it is rural or urban, it remains the same. But like Maharashtra, if there are curbs which impacts the movement of vehicles, then there could be a problem. But fortunately, as I had earlier said, movement of commercial vehicles have not been restricted. So we are financing used commercial vehicles, particularly transporting essential commodities. So it's a 24/7 activity. So we do feel that it would be same everywhere. Because of the booming of the rural economy, it could be slightly better than the urban market.
Okay. Mr. Sridhar, wanted to know what the outlook is when it comes to your AUM growth for FY22 and which segment is going to be the focus on?
See, as I already said, that we are going to focus on retail, and in that commercial vehicle, SME as well as affordable housing finance. So the affordable housing finance is going to be another thrust area apart from the commercial vehicle we are going to do. As a company which is young, we are only 9 years old, and our assets are only 10,000 crores now, out of which, if you remove the corporate lending, we are only 7,500 crores. So this year we have already touched 350 crores of disbursement in March. So if you extrapolate that for the next year, we should be more than 4,000 to 5,000 crores. So that means the growth, because of the low base, is going to be very high for the next couple of years. After that, it would be average, normal. So we are hoping for a 25 to 30% CAGR growth in the retail segment in the next 5 years. Initially, it will be higher, then it will become normalized.
All right. Okay, understood. That's the trajectory for your overall growth. Thank you so much for sharing with us your growth outlook as well as the collection trends and what the implications of the scrappage policy are. That's IndoStar Capital Finance for you. Let's slip into a very quick break with news that we're holding out at 14,950 on the index.